and gentlemen, and a warm welcome to the webinar hosted by Department of Business Administration of St. Elisha's Autonomous College, Mangaluru. There are some general instructions to be given for the participants. Kindly put your audio on mute mode so that there is no interruption. You are advised to have a pen and scribbling pad with you so that you can jot down the questions. And for the Q&A session, you are requested to post the questions in the chat box as and when you want them to put it on there. And at the end of the session, we are going to take up those questions. We shall now begin with a prayer.
In ways we cannot see, He will make a way for me. He will be my guide, hold me closely to His side. With love and strength for each new day, He will make a way. He will make a way.
At the very outset, we'll be having a welcome address given by Ms. Aarti Shanbag, Head of the Department of Business Administration, St. Elisha's Autonomous College.
Very good morning all. I deem it my privilege to acknowledge the importance of organizing this webinar and delivering the welcome address. The theme of the webinar is Connecting to the Youth in the New Normal. Envisaging the concept of new normal, the locus is possibly on the times of transition, which has also created an opportunity and to rethink our priorities. Mental health and reach is a priority which is pertinent during pandemic, and youth are our prime stakeholders. We extend a warm and cordial welcome to all. At the very outset, I would like to acknowledge our principal, Reverend Dr. Praveen Martis SJ, for creating this platform to reach out to the society and acquaint us with the new environment. Dr. Dennis Fernandez, our director, for supporting and encouraging us to build this platform. He has actively involved himself by addressing the introductory remark for the webinar. A warm welcome to you, sir. Ms. Claret Pereira, the Head of Department of Business Administration, and Mr. Anand Rohit Bhatt, the convener of the webinar, who have meticulously planned and executed this event. A warm welcome to you. Needless to say that we have a very distinguished personality as our resource person for this session, and she is none other than Dr. Rumila Shekhar. A warm welcome to you, madam, from the Department of Business Administration. We are highly overwhelmed by your presence and your participation for today's program. The whole faculty of Department of Business Administration who have contributed as a productive task force and have made this day possible. And you, dear participants, we appreciate your enthusiasm and a great learning attitude. Let us all emerge as intellectually enriching resource in the new normal. Welcome one, welcome all. Have an enriching day.
Thank you, ma'am. We are delighted to have with us Dr. Dennis Fernandez, Director of Arupe Block, St. Elisha's Autonomous College. May I request him to express his thoughts on this occasion.
Good morning, all. In the beginning of this year, when we heard of coronavirus, which was spreading in the Wuhan province of China, we had no idea that this virus would spread to the entire globe and create serious implications on our day-to-day life. Even though the full impact of COVID-19 may yet be to be seen, we know that people are already reeling under the pressure. At this juncture, there is a need to control our emotions and consider the situation objectively. Then only we will be able to identify the opportunities and convert our disadvantageous position into our advantage. To keep engaging our students as well as enthusiastic learners, St. Aloysius College Autonomous Mangaluru has initiated several online programs in tune with the call by the management of the college. The Department of BBA has already organized 2 online certificate courses which have been well appreciated by the stakeholders, both by our students as well as public. Now the faculty of BBA has a new dean, Mrs. Arati Sharma, and new HOD, Mrs. Claret Pereira. They have begun the year with great enthusiasm, and this webinar is their first program under their guidance. I wish them all the best. I wish them all the best, and also coordinator Anant Rohit of the webinar. I thank the management of the college, especially our dear principal, Reverend Father Praveen Martis SJ, for mooting this wonderful idea and supporting us throughout. We have Dr. Ramila Shekhar as the resource person today amongst us. I wish her all the best and request our students and the participants to gain from our resource person to the maximum level. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. The topic which we have selected for our first session is connecting to the youth in the new normal. We already have the resource person with us. May I request Ms. Benny to introduce the resource person.
Very good morning to one and all. It's indeed my privilege to introduce our today's resource person, Dr. Ramila Shekhar, who has an expert hands in counseling. Madam is not just a beautiful personality, but she's immensely talented and knowledgeable. It would be difficult for me to pen down her achievements and contribution to the society, but to mention few, Ma'am has served as Professor, HOD and Dean for PT Department of Roshni Nilaya for 34 years. She is currently practicing child, adolescent and youth mental professionals at Manashanti Counseling, Training and Research Center, Mangalore. Ma'am has contributed more than 1,000 programs for students, parents, teachers, as well as members of various government and corporate sector. Ma'am has also presented number of research papers in various local, state, national and international conferences. She has also contributed many articles and research papers in various journals. Ma'am has also been invited to give lectures to students of Volda University, Norway and University of Leuven, Belgium. Ma'am is the author of books on child mental health and women and mental health, also a manual for teachers and parents on child mental health. Ma'am has been appointed second time as the Juvenile Justice Board member for Dakshin Kannada. At present, she is the member of Prevention of Sex Norway and University of Leuven, Belgium. Ma'am is the author of books on child mental health and women and mental health, also a manual for teachers and parents on child mental health. Ma'am has been appointed second time as the Juvenile Justice Board member for Dakshin Kannada. At present, she is the member of Prevention of Sexual Harassment Committee of KMC Hospital, Mangalore, also for the head office of Karnataka Bank, Mangalore, and also for Tetherfield Software Company. Since 2018, she is the member of Internal Complaint Committee at NITK. Ma'am has given various radio and TV programs on issues related to women, child health and mental health. Since March 2020, ma'am has been busy delivering online training to mental health professionals all over India. Ma'am, we are eagerly waiting to listen to you.
Thank you. Again, a kind request to all participants, please put your devices on mute mode so that there is no interruption during the session. We shall now begin with the first session. Over to our resource person.
Good morning. First of all, a big thank you to the BBA department for this opportunity to share something about a group of people whom I love working with, and that is the youth. Okay, so as the topic that was given to me by the department and the faculty was connecting to youth in the new normal. But having worked in this field, especially with COVID-19 from almost April 8th, I think we started working in this field with online services that is being provided and meeting a lot of youth with regard to this particular pandemic and what it does to the individuals. I thought of adding something to the title that was given by the department without their permission, and that is connecting to youth in the new normal by building their resilience. Because I thought that was something that can be encashed from my 20 years or 25 years of experience with the youth. I see that there's a lot of back ability in the youth. That is exactly resilience what I'm talking about. Okay. Things can happen, there can be a failure, there can be a death, there can be a disaster. But the first group to bounce back is the youth. You know, to come back to where they were and start off again fresh is the youth. But somewhere in these 2 months, I have not been seeing that. I thought the bouncing back would come back somewhere in the month. But from the phone calls and the meeting with the youth, I somewhere see that is not coming. And that is why I added this, thinking that maybe we can, help all of y'all to develop it. So, yes, I did that. Sorry. Yes. So, any sort of a any thought of a disaster or anything can bring about a lot of issues in the individuals. And when there are issues in the individuals, most of the time we adults have a tendency to focus on the immediate aspect. That is exactly if you go to see what happened in the month of April and May. Everybody was busy by providing relief in the form of food, in the form of vegetables, in the form of food items, in the form of transport. All that was being, given to that, so that we were able to see to the immediate. But for y'all youth, something that I have learned from y'all is more than immediate, you are more bothered about the future. Simple example I can give you for this to highlight this is when your parents tell you to study, when your teachers tell you to study, the common sentence that I hear from all of y'all is, if I get good results, that's enough now for y'all. Means that I am not bothered what is happening now, I am bothered about what will happen later. Now, this is where the whole problem is arising. We are focusing on today, y'all are focusing on tomorrow. Now, the general perception that I have from people and even youngsters is somewhere it is got into our head, come September, things will be normal. So just yesterday I met boy who told me, ma'am, this is only for 3 months, ma'am. From September onwards, I can go as I want everywhere. I can travel wherever I want. I can just live like before. Now, this is something that I want to highlight, saying that, yes, there is going to be a life after COVID-19, definitely. Okay, but it's not going to be like how it was February 2020 or how it was in December 2019. It's going to be something little different. And that is what is being termed by everybody as the new normal. So if you look around, things have changed. What has changed? Being a student has changed. Being a customer has changed. Being an employee has changed. Being a citizen has changed. So every aspect of our life has changed. Like I think for students who are here in the, in this webinar, I think by now you would have thought you would be in college, you would have fun with your friends. Things are changing. You're still at home. As a customer, you can't even be a proper customer and touch and see everything. Now there's a lot of online, shopping that is being done. As an employee, for the young ones who are already into employment, there's a lot of change there. I never thought, for example, even me, I never thought that I would do my therapy sessions in the online. I never thought that I'll do a program online. I always had that in mind that it wouldn't be, successful, but I've changed. So there's so much that is being changed that because of this COVID-19. So now what will be the change? How will the change affect our communication? What do we do to live the way we want to live? How do we want the people to live and build on the experiences? And for me, the answer here is very, very simple. It is just that everything will happen if we are able to connect to each other. And so that connection is a very important aspect of this whole, experience that you're going to have from now on. I think this is something that I would want everybody to understand. I think along with the webinar, invitation, there was also a small survey link. Okay, unfortunately, we had only about 60, I think so. Though there are, I don't know, 100 and odd people who are come here for the webinar. We had about 60 people or 62 people, persons actually who did the survey, but all 62 have answered everything. That is one thing nice. And I just gave you a gist of it, on the basis of which I have planned my today's webinar. Okay. 88% are above 21 years. 74% are females who have, answered the survey. 74% are from the urban. So I guess it must be from in and around Mangalore. Okay. 35 to 45% are experiencing disturbing emotional reactions to a certain extent. Okay. And 8 to 16% are experiencing it very often. Okay. And this experience interferes in relationship for 60% somewhat and 17% extremely. It interferes with study, work for 67% somewhat and 16% again extremely. 57% get % are not able to cope with it most of the time. All right. And 52% say, no, I am not satisfied with the present situation. And the general umbrella of emotions that I've got from the 62 persons who have answered is two very important feelings: feeling bored and feeling irritated. So what is the normal state, psychosocial state of our youth? Very critical. Critical here is not negative, but the questions why, how, what, where is what I've termed as critical. Dislike changes. Okay. Very carefree. irritated and what is being told commonly to them, don't want adults to be around them, okay, want to be independent. I want to touch and experience, okay. I'm not going to believe all what you say, all right. And plus, I get irritated when I'm told what to do. Now, this is the general state of mind. And I'm sure when I'm talking about this, you are able to understand for me why you're feeling bored, why you're feeling irritated, why you're feeling frustrated, because the present situation is exactly the opposite of what I told you. Okay, you're not allowed to be with your friends. You're not allowed to be independent. There are lots of do's and don'ts. Okay, wear that, do this, wash that, all those things. Okay, and I like to be with my friends, but most of the time I'm with adults. I'm, the typical term that is used by my friends, young friends, is I am stuck at home. That itself gives you an idea of what is happening. So everything that is happening is just the opposite of what I want it to be. So that's why you can imagine what is happening, which I put it in 3 categories for you. I just put it in 3 categories. I put it in the category of physical, I put it in the category of psychological, and I put it in the category of social changes. Because I just want you to understand. Now, physical, I gave you the first one is that itself, being stuck at home. So naturally feeling bored, naturally feeling lonely. Okay, there's a change in the routine, there's a change in my food. Okay, unable to do what I'm always doing. I used to go after class, I used to go and sit in the playground and, watch people or talk to people. I can't do that. Okay, physically, I am around my family, which I'm not very comfortable. Psychologically, a lot of uncertainty that is going on. First question I am asked by most of my young friends are, how long will this go on? And I don't have an answer for that. Okay, lot of rebelliousness. Why you telling me what to do? How can you make me eat the food I want? Because I think typically before, if you were angry, okay, the typical thing is, I don't want your food, I can get it from Swiggy. Now I can't. Or even if I can, I'm not allowed. So now I am dependent so much on you, which I don't like. And naturally, what do I do when I'm alone? Like yesterday, I was told, who wants to talk, madam, to my mother and father the whole day? And what do I talk? That was the question that was asked to me. So if I don't want to talk, what do? I am stuck with the technology. And fortunately for y'all, fortunately for you, you're also expected to be in touch with the technology because of online classes. So that's like a double-edged sword. Somewhere we are telling you don't do that. Okay, somewhere we are telling you do that. Because I think I just had a talk with another mental health professional and she was just sharing with me, I think on a live TV, the question was asked for her by one of the students saying that, ma'am, you are the one who told us to cut down the online sessions, and now we are asked by the college to be online for 3 hours. What do you say? So this is a dilemma. Okay, so mobile addiction, technology addiction, but at the same time also you're hearing you're not supposed to be addicted. Now what am I supposed to do? So this is the psychological state. Going to the social state. Okay, lot of restrictions. I can't meet my friends. Okay, lot of mobility restrictions. I can't go out on, I had this young boy saying, the only thing I liked, madam, was going fast on my bike. Even now that I can't do because there are policemen everywhere. So now you can imagine what is happening. Okay, boredom. Now something that uncertainty about the future. I don't know whether I'll have my exams, and especially my final year students, especially BBM, BCom and engineering students have contacted me for a simple question saying, my campus is over, but what now? I don't know, because they also know, you also know, the employers also know, I also know that people who are already in the firm are being taken out. So will they take in new people at all? So this is an uncertainty that is engulfing you. So what do? Very, very common, I have heard, but this is something that I'm going to talk about later, and I know y'all don't like it, but as a mental health professional, I am going to do about this thing is let not boredom make y'all go towards alcohol and tobacco, which is becoming a very common issue for me. Again, last week, I had this young friend of mine who from the north rang me up and told me, I don't know whether it's right or wrong. If you're going to give me advice, I'm going to switch off right now. But I just called you to tell you I'm feeling bored, and that's why I take 2 pegs every day. So I've been told right at the beginning, don't advise. I've been told, don't tell anything me. What am I supposed to do? So I just started a conversation with them saying that, what are the other alternatives that you have? And not in that 45 minutes that I spoke to him. Okay, I did not tell him don't drink. But we just had a conversation, a dialogue about what are the things that he can do and how he can get involved in those activities. And at the end of the 45 minutes, he said, okay, I think you're putting in a doubt whether I'm right. Let me tell you after a week. Now, this is where we stand. So, but I sincerely, for y'all, I want to request you, this is not an alternative. So, I know this is happening among most of us, but this is not an alternative for us. So, just thought, okay, now, what is the present? Now, this is what I spoke about, what y'all are. I spoke about what has happened. Now, what is the present? Now, the present for me here is there's a lot of adjustment that has to take up. That's why I picked up these 2 pictures, I think, which is a common thing. If all of y'all take a selfie, these are the 2 photos that I will get. Okay, one is bored and is lonely. These are the 2 words I'm hearing constantly from my young fellows and girls for the past few months. I am bored. I am lonely. So now that's an adjustment that we have to make, an adjustment to the behavior, an adjustment in the lifestyle, an adjustment in every situation. And I know it is very easy for me to tell y'all sitting here. Okay, but this is a requirement for all of us. Y'all are making an adjustment. Your younger brother who is in the 4th standard is making an adjustment. 6 years are making an adjustment. Teachers are making an adjustment. Everybody has to make an adjustment, because that is what I'm calling about as saying this is what is resilience. Because then only we are able to bounce back to our earlier situation. Second, okay, constant conflicts and anxieties. Constant conflicts and anxieties that are there in the present. One of the conflict is I'm continuously hearing news of COVID increasing everywhere. And my parents have to just hear it. They start saying, see, I told you no, not to go outside. Told you no, not to go there. Please sit at home. Please sit at home. And that is, irritating me. I'm tired of having home food, however well your mother is cooking. Okay, I want to have food from outside, but there is a fear. So now what is happening is, there's one phrase that has become very common in our mind: health at home is a boon. That's a common word that I'm hearing. Stay home, stay healthy. Which means if I go out, I'm unhealthy. So what is happening? What do I do? Staying at home, nothing to do. How do I spend my time at home? I don't know what to do. So is it really stay home, stay healthy? Is it really that if I stay home? This is again a question that was, ma'am, if I'm not happy, will I be healthy? So now this is a big question mark. This is an anxiety. This is a common conflict that is being, brought about in all of us. Okay. And of course, the academic side, there are a lot of conflicts. I know. Because 74% are from urban, maybe you're well better off. But for my rural friends, that itself is becoming a problem, because I had a call recently You know, everything is happening online. Nange, I'm not even getting Kannada, she told me. Nange internet connections sigta illa. What do I do, madam? Do I leave this year at all? How can it be like this? Can't they think of us? So now all this is becoming constant anxieties, and it's hovering around our head, and it's making us more and more, you know, unhappy as such. Okay. Very, very small discontentments that is there. Okay, like small issues. They are very small issues. Every day it wouldn't have been a bother. Because it is small issues, it's still causing a lot of problem for me. Okay, being stuck with my adults every time. You know, somebody told me, this is actually a girl, young girl who told me, after my 4th standard, this is the first time I'm having food with my parents. I always stuck. I have to have food with my parents. Okay. Another girl who told me, now I'm asked to do household work and I don't even have excuse saying I'm busy because they know I'm not busy. So demanding family, demanding teachers. So this is small problems, but altogether small problems are causing a lot of issues for me. How do I manage? This is where I want to bring in the whole concept of resilience, which is very close to me as a mental health professional. Nothing back. Example for resilience is when you throw the ball on the wall, it comes back to you. It comes back to the wherever it is. Now, this is a capacity that all of us have. You know, we are thrown off by a calamity, but most of us have that innate potential in us to come back. Okay, it's a skill, it is a capacity to accept change and overcome a shock or a setback. Okay, and this resilience helps us to walk in. It helps start working again. It stops us where we are. We don't get stuck where we are. So now that is something that I know as youth, all of y'all have. Keep in touch with the time for me, if y'all don't mind. Okay? When it's half an hour, tell me. When it's 45 minutes, just put up your hands and tell me. Okay? So this is something that I want y'all to be, you know, coming back, because it helps me. It helps me a lot. You know, bounce back, come back, because, you know, I was just sharing with the staff who came with me walking. I think St. Aloysius for me, where I'm sitting today and doing this webinar, was full of noise, full of smiles. Okay, when I come on the road also, I used to see a lot of youth, you know, or even in my house, near my house, when I'm inside the house, when I see these boys and girls walking, there's to be a lot of noise, there's to be a lot of smiles, there's to be a lot of shouting. I'm missing that. I'm actually missing that. Okay, because now it is all of us are walking, boulder is on our shoulder. So it's very difficult to put our steps. When you're starting, be careful. No, don't do that. Don't touch. Don't do. But it's such, you know, it actually makes your mental aspect very, very sad. Okay, but now we have internal bring that. And for my young friends, I definitely, and this is my umbrella statement. How do, like many a times when I've spoken, they have told me, how do we come back? The statement is change your mindset. That's the first thing that you have to do. This is the first thing. Change your mindset. Change your mindset to what? Change your mindset to joy. Change your mindset to hope. Change your mindset to love. Change your mindset to interest. Change your mindset to gratitude. I'm going to talk about this again and again, because these are the 5 words that we have all forgotten after 28th or 23rd of March. Okay, because we are so stuck with and you know, every time you watch in the news or somebody tells you, okay, there are 5 people, here there is this thing, here that is that thing. Can I just start being more happy? Can I just have a hope? Can I just start having interest? And that all brings about a positive thought. Positive thoughts bring about positive feelings. Positive feelings brings about positive attitude. And this positive attitude, despite any difficulty, helps us to bounce back. Now that's the umbrella of, you know, cover that I want all of us to have. Simply going to the strategies, which is very simple. Okay, this is something that I'm going to keep, because you will health unless you look after your physical health. So, and especially for my young friends, eat healthy, sleep adequately, and look after your hygiene. One thing that I'm seeing disturbed in the youth is sleep. Just now when I was coming, I had a call saying my son has not yet got up. Okay, yesterday I had a call at 12:30 saying my daughter is still sleeping. So naturally what happens if you're sleeping till 12:30 in the afternoon, you can't get sleep in the night. Everything is going haywire. So can we have a proper scheduling? Because this builds up your immunity. Do physical exercise. I don't want you to go to the gym. Now don't give me an reason. I had one of my friends whom I told, go do physical exercise, but ma'am, the gyms are closed, man. You don't need a gym to have physical exercise. Just walk up and down the stairs 10 times. That's enough for me. Why? And that's going to make you feel better. I'm not even talking of physical immunity. I'm going to talk, when you go up and down, it builds you. And as I told you that time, the must for avoid any sort of chemicals, alcohol, tobacco, or drugs to release your tension, because it's not an answer for your tension. Okay, so ultimately, I want to tell you, look after your physical health, and that's your responsibility. Because many a times I've heard us blame somebody else. Now let's not do that. So this is the first part. Then I want to the psychological strategies. Okay, which are very, very simple. First one is acceptance of reality. Yes, COVID is here. It's going to be here for some days or some months. I don't know. This is a question often asked. Even on the road, when I meet somebody, how long, ma'am? I really don't know. None of us know. It's there. Okay, so we have to accept it. And we have to learn to be okay in spite of this problem. I do my work, but I do my work with responsibility. I do my work with being careful about myself, not for myself, for everybody's. So that's acceptance of the reality. So then what do I change my perspective about it? Okay, here changing a perspective is not of the situation, but changing the perspective of myself. Yes, I'm feeling anxious. Yes, I'm feeling terrible. Accept it. It's normal. But if it goes on for a long period of time, so maybe for more than 2 weeks, okay, then you need to take help. There are a lot of challenges that you're facing. Accept the challenges. And more important for me, focus on what you can do. Now, for example, I'm just giving you simple, I'm not even talking of psychological. 2 focuses: wear a mask, maintain social distance. Do that, and that will change your thought completely. Because when you're bad and not so helpless, that will change it. Okay? Change the negative thoughts to the positive thoughts. Because negative thoughts become overwhelming, they cloud your mind. You know, simple example, 2 days back, all of us were gloomy because the sky was gloomy. As we saw a little bit of sun, it made us feel nice. And the same thing, please understand, happens to our mind. If there's a gloom over our head, okay, we are going to feel gloomy, we are going to feel useless, we are going to feel terrible, we are going to feel everything. So I want you to reframe it. And my young friends, now reframe not only your thoughts, reframe your words also. Stop saying that I'm stuck at home. Say I have a chance to be at home. Say I have a chance to, clean up my room, which otherwise you never do. Okay? Instead of saying, oh my God, it's going to be like this, how terrible. Say, maybe something positive will come out of this. And I see a lot of positives. Let me tell you that. I see a lot of positives. Okay? People started caring. That's a positive that I see. People have started talking to each other. That's a positive that I see. Okay? So start saying that. Say that. Start saying these words from now. You'll see that automatically your thoughts change, your feelings change, and your attitude change. Okay? And try simple problem solving techniques. So what am I trying to tell you? Start developing your life skills. Start developing creativity. All of us have a creativity, and unfortunately, in spite of all the teachers who are there in front of me, I'm taking the notes from your teachers and writing it exactly as it is. Now, this is a chance to do the notes otherwise. Write something, draw something, do something different, because ultimately this creativity is going to help you in, building your problem solving skill. Make decisions. All this time, everybody has been taking decisions for you. Go to this college, I go. My friends go, so I go. Now start making decisions for yourself. Okay? And lots of time you have. So build up your skills by joining some course which will help you with that. Okay? And activity is help others. That's what I said. Why am I telling you to help us? But I'm asking you because when you help others, you feel better. And when you're helping others, I'm not saying give money, take your clothes from the cupboard and give, but even by following the rules and regulations, you're helping others. Okay? And I told you, practice positivity, and I'm going to end it with one sentence because I've spoken about it. Celebrate happiness. It's not only birthdays that you have to celebrate. It's not only wedding anniversaries you have to celebrate. Celebrate the simple fact of happiness. That is, get up and say that you're happy. Get up and be thankful for what you have. Because generally, I think all these past years have made us, we are so comparative to others, and we say, oh, he has that, I don't have something. Okay, he comes to college by bike, I am not allowed to come by college by bike. He has something I don't have. Now thinking of what you have, my God, that will change you. Even to think that I have a roof over my head will make you feel something. Because the moment that gratitude comes, when I get calls, I always tell my young friends, or I tell almost everybody, do a gratitude diary. Start writing everything you're happy about. Be happy that you have your mother with you. Be happy that you have a friend who's concerned you, whom we have never thought of. Can we change that? Okay. Manage your emotions. When I say manage your emotions, identify your emotions and bring it out. Don't let it in. Don't let it in. Okay. Thank you. Okay. And along with emotional management, manage your relationships. Okay. Say, now I'm coming back to the title. When I say manage the relationship, connect. Connect to people, connect to your family, connect to somebody with whom you are close to, connect to people whom you are not close to, maybe a grand aunt of yours whom you have never spoken, okay, a grandmother of yours who is very, very boring, but just ring her up and ask her how is she, okay, connect, because that connection itself triggers a lot of positivity in you, okay, and very important for me, if at all you have some issues within you, don't feel bad and stop there. Don't feel bad and stop there. What I want you to do is start developing and taking help. Take help from your teachers, take help from your parents, and if nobody is there, take help from professionals. And to my friends, I have a small message for you. We think that when we take help, we are weak. Sorry. When you take help, you are strong. You're strong enough to recognize your positive problems. It is your strength that you have recognized. I have this issue and I'm not able to work with it, so I need help. So please change this mindset of yours. Only weak people go to help. No. It is strong people who recognize that they have an issue and go to help. And the help can be anybody. It can be a favorite teacher of yours. It can be a favorite, yours, whoever it is. Okay, then, manage patience, manage disappointments without losing yourself. And most important for me, do what you can do and don't focus on what you cannot control. I think most of us are doing about, now we are all thinking about the vaccine that is going to come. It's not you and I who are going to do that. There are enough of people in the, WHO who are managing that. Why should I go to Geneva? Can I do something here around my house? Can I take care of myself? That is what I can do. And when you have such ideas, share. Share this idea because it will do you well. So finally, I very strongly believe that if I want to develop resilience, I have to get myself exposed to challenges. How? Go back to your childhood. I know most of you all are about 21 years. So now go back to when you were 3 years old. Go back to when you were 4 years old. You had a fall. And when we had a fall, what did we do? We got up. We did not stay there. If we had stayed there, today, I and you wouldn't have been able to walk. Because we got up, we are able to walk. And that is bouncing back. So we have all bounced back at some time or the other. We have all bounced back and come back to that. So now today is another chance for you to bounce back. Okay? Yes, going is becoming tough. Okay? But instead of crumbling down, there is always an extended hand of your teachers, an extended hand of your mother, an extended hand of your sibling, or an extended hand of professionals. Take it up. Take it up right away. And my final take-home message for you, okay, is very, very important. My take-home message is talk it out. Take-home message, talk it out, bottle it up, come out, okay, find reasons to be happy. Look for small things to be happy, okay. Your mother woke you up today with a sweet voice. Be happy of that. Don't be unhappy that she woke you up. Okay. Your friend called to say hi to you and after a long time she asked you, how are you? Now don't start worrying. Why did she call me? I'm sure she wants something. Instead of that, be happy that she called you. I mean, this is what we find reasons to be happy. Okay. If it's raining outside, find happy. It's cooler. You are not sweating. Accept the changes. Changes have to happen. Okay? And all changes are not going to be positive. So let's swim through. And most important for y'all, my take-home message is now is the time you really have 24 hours. Because all this time y'all did not have because college was taking a lot of your time. Now is the time you have 24 hours. Make use of that. Manage the 24 hours in a proper manner. Manage it by making yourself happy. I'm not saying only, yesterday when I spoke to a youngster, he said, you're telling me to study whole time? That is what is your constructive activity? I said, no, I am the last person to tell you that. What I want you to do is manage it by making yourself happy, manage it by making yourself feel constructive, manage it by being useful to others. I don't know. I am not going to sit and tell you do this and do that. You set and you decide. But let it be a combination of all this, which is very, very important for me. That is something that is very important for me, which I want. Okay, I think it's not moving. Can you move to the next slide, please? It's okay. Yes. I think I have finished it. Okay. So that is what I wanted to speak to you. Thank you. I see a lot of people, and I hope someday, if not the whole session, one part of it will be at least useful and you'll be able to do it. And hopefully you all can get back to me how you're feeling. Thank you very much. A big thank you to St. Aloysius for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
All right, participants, after this session, we have got few questions. And three of them will be posting these questions to All right, we are done with the session. We have got a few questions, out of which we selected three, and we'll be asking these questions to our resource person. Ma'am, one survey says every day around 250,000 people die anyways, even before COVID-19. Considering this, is the present statistics exaggerated by media? Why can't we consider the worldwide death rate as not as birth rate?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, you are right. When you say that, deaths, and why can't we consider these deaths as normal deaths? Yes, you know, but here one thing that I want to say is that we are considering here because the deaths are because of a particular virus, and we are also looking at that if the virus can be combated, you know, if the virus can be, you know, made to be less powerful, then that is a better way of dealing with it. So it's not birth rate and death rate. Yes, it is going on, but I think now whatever said and done, there's a sudden surge in the death rate, which is worrying everybody. So that is why I think we are being, cautious about. I am happy that you're taking this. I think this is exactly what I meant by reframing your thought. Okay, but I have one. I'm not going to put a full stop. I'm going to put a comma and say, yes, there is a death rate. Every day people are dying. But, okay, just because there is a death rate everywhere and every day people are dying, should I succumb to an illness and not look after myself? Then the answer is no. If I'm going to be, you know, careless and invite death, that is not an appropriate reply for me. That is what I'm trying to say. So it's okay if you are, you know, not being bothered about the death rate, but just because I'm not bothered, I shouldn't neglect my health, and also I shouldn't say, let come what may, let it come. I'm not going to be bothered. Okay.
There is a question.
Ma'am, do you think the aspect of mental health is highly underrated in India? Ma'am, do you think the aspect of mental health is highly underrated in India to a point where people are of the opinion that anybody who approaches a psychiatrist can be considered as insane? Is this the right situation to spread awareness about mental health?
Yes, I think you're perfectly right. And I think that's the same question somewhat has also come, also saying that people usually shy away from sharing their problems. So what can be done? So I'm going to combine both this. Yes, mental health, there is always a stigma. Okay, like we have people coming to us and saying, can we come after it is dark? Can we come somewhere where nobody is there? Okay, and I think this is because we have not understood what I meant when I said it is your strength if you recognize that you have an issue and you want to go for help. It's not a weakness. It's always seen as a weakness. So I think this is, I'm not saying this is the right, but I also want to tell to this particular youth who asked the question, things are better. Because I've been here in the field of mental health for 25 years. I know that things are much better. I have my youth holding me up. I have my youth coming here. I have everybody. So it's much better, but it's not like how it is with the physical health. Okay. Maybe this is what I was talking about, the positive side. Okay. People are recognizing that COVID is not only a physical illness, it's also bringing in the mental health issues. Okay. People are talking about after COVID-19 pandemic, we are also talking about mental health pandemic. So people are becoming aware of the word mental. Okay. There are a lot of mental health professionals who are out to help people. So maybe I could say, but if this is the right time, it's good. Now, what can we do? I think one thing that you can do is start talking about this. Talk about mental health issues. Talk about depression. Talk about issues that are there. Okay, maybe any sort of a disorder. Just start talking with your people. Now, if the youth who are educated are there, talk about what we our own family. You have been listening to it with your earplugs. Now remove it and start spreading. 5 minutes, spread it out and say, I went for a talk and this is what happened. So one person in the family also knows, oh, I can take help. And that person goes to the market and talks. I think the only answer to it is talk. Talk wherever you all can. Then that will be there. And the talk should come from the common man rather than from the mental health profession. Okay? Yes? Okay? Yes.
Hello. Ma'am, this question has come in the background of the recent shocking suicide case of Sushant Singh Rajput. The question is, till now, the definition of success was money, fame, and recognition. But after getting to know about the recent incident, is it just about success, or is it about contentment and inner peace? Because if a person having all these things can commit suicide, then what is real success?
Okay. I know this would come. I knew this would come because I think we are all comparatively, upset with what has happened. And if you realize, I'm using the words very cautiously because as a mental health professional, we are very cautious about the words that we use when we talk about, suicide, death. Because that, and I think that's one thing that I want to tell you all. Yes, it has happened to this person, and there could be many factors. Okay, and the only thing that I want to talk about this particular aspect is things are not the same as it looks to be, and it's not the case of only our celebrity Sushant. It's the case of so many people in and around me. There are people around me who look very happy. There are people around me looking very okay with everything, but inside there's a lot of suffering. Okay, and this could be biological in nature. It could be because of no psychosocial factors at all. It could be triggered by a psychological factor. It could be triggered by a social factor like how you brought in. Okay, it could be just triggered by one particular aspect that I don't have anybody to tell when I need. So I think I think we've got to understand the whole concept of suicide as a multifactorial aspect. Okay, and also try to remember that I don't think we need to, talk about this as a matter of fact, how it happened, why it happened. Okay, but we only need to understand that if a person has a need for help, the help has to be given to that particular person. Yes. relationship, contentment, all those are, the buffers that we have in our life. You have a good family, you can always fall back. You have a good friend, you can always fall back. You have a strong resilience power, you can fall back. But unfortunately, something might go wrong somewhere, and that's where the unfortunate incident happens. Okay, I have one question. I think I'll take that up. Lockdown has made our youngsters use more and more social media, but there are a few who we use this platform to connect to people. Like, for example, maybe a boy connecting to a girl in a virtual relationship just because lockdown is boring. What would be the mental effects of this? And lockdown situation has affected the mental health of all, and especially about people who have disorders, maybe a personality disorder or something. Now, it has affected, the second question I'm going to take first, it has affected everybody. It has affected us mental health professionals also. Just because I'm talking to you doesn't mean it has not affected me. It has affected everybody, from a small child to an elderly person. Okay, now, how do we cope with it? What do we do with it? Okay, how do we handle? I told you exactly, look after your physical self. Okay, have a, the couch of support systems. That's the most important. And when you are feeling down, share it with somebody. I think that itself is going to be helpful for you. Share it with somebody you have. It could be somebody in the family. It could be anybody. Share it. I mean, these are the three things that I would think of how to handle it. Coming to the first question, yes, I know that is happening. Okay. In the name of virtual classes, there are a lot of things, but I think now the only thing that we can do is, I would request my youngsters to be responsible for self. Because exactly the question that was spoken to my colleague, a psychiatrist colleague on the TV show, is the answer that I gave. What do you tell me? I tell you, you monitor. Because I'm telling you, I'm still telling you that, yes, you shouldn't spend hours and hours and hours of time on the, social media or on the laptop or on the phone, but your teachers are requesting you to be online for this particular thing. So that doesn't mean after that still be online. Take the responsibility to be offline and get into actual in-person relationships, which is much better. In-person relationship with your family, in-person relationship with your friends. Okay, because for me, these sort of online relationships, okay, it's only going to strain you physically again. Okay, and mentally also, you're doing it on sly. If you're doing it openly, that's another factor. But if you're doing anything on sly, there's a lot of heaviness that is going to be caused for you. And that heaviness is going to have its brunt on your mental health. So that is a simple, answer that I want to give you. What should you do? How? I think parents, this is not for y'all, but I would request the parents and teachers to have a talk with you. And if you're moving towards, virtual, time more, take the help of your parents and teachers, saying, look, this is what is happening to me. Because of the classes, I can't come out. What do I do? So then, your parents will help you. But in case you still are, this person is still stuck with this, okay, take help. And now I'm happy to tell so many of the mental health professionals are online. And I'm telling you, my youth are the most happiest on online consultation because your anonymity is maintained and that is possible for you. So go ahead, ring up, ask, okay, and you can definitely get help. Yes.
There is a question. People usually shy away from sharing their problems
because they are introverts. Okay, people usually shy away from sharing their problems because they are introverts. What can be done? I think shying away basically is not because only I'm an introvert. It is shying away because I don't have the courage to talk about it. Okay, well, from my experience, sometimes the most introverted, if you think that you're going to classify a person like that, the most introverted person sometimes comes and asks for help. Okay, shying away is because of my mindset, as I told you at the beginning. It's because of my mindset. I feel bad. What will they think? Okay, and that's why, as a mental health professional, the first thing I want to tell you, I'm again and again repeating it, is I always tell people I admire them for coming forward and telling. Because maybe even if I have, there is a little bit of shying away. But there are times, let me tell you, that's why I said, don't think I'm not affected. There are times we have taken help from other mental health professionals. You don't lose anything. Absolutely, you don't lose anything. So again, I'm repeating, be aware of what you're feeling, be aware of your thoughts. And when you're aware of your thoughts and you know your thoughts and your feelings are not very positive, immediately talk it out to somebody. Your first circle, talk it out to your first circle, and I'm sure they will understand. In case they feel they are not able to understand, move to your second circle. Okay, contact a health professional. It can be even your doctor. It need not be a mental health professional if you don't want. It can be your doctor. The doctor will give you a grip for you. So take help. It's only when you take the first step forward can you walk a mile. And walking a mile towards the mental health is now the need of the hour. With this positive note, thank you very much.
That concludes our question and answer session. May I now request Ms. Ashita, Faculty in Department of Business Administration, to propose a vote of thanks.
To quote Franklin Roosevelt, we cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. Good morning, one and all. Connecting is building a bridge of understanding. In today's webinar, Dr. Ramila Shekhar rightly said that we should change our mindset. Ma'am also gave us strategies to enhance resilience. As ma'am said, talk it out, find reason to be happy, accept the changes, and manage time. I deem it great honor to propose the vote of thanks to all who have helped us in making this webinar. First of all, I would like to thank the management and our principal, Reverend Dr. Pratik Matas SJ, for their constant support and encouragement. I would like to thank our distinguished resource person, Dr. Ramila Shekhar, for making this webinar interesting and meaningful. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank our Dean, Mrs. Aarti Shanbag, the HOD, Ms. Claret Pereira, for all their guidance. I thank Mr. Anand, the convener of this webinar, for all his efforts. I would like to thank all the faculty members of the BBA department. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants who have actively participated in this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. It's time to wrap up our first webinar. Our next webinar will be held on 22nd of June at the same time. Those who have participated in today's webinar, your certificates will be sent to your email within 48 hours. Thank you all participants for joining us in this webinar. It was indeed a delightful experience. Thank you.